Well, that's the thing, when you join these sessions, when you take part in whether it's an online meeting or a workshop or a retreat or whatever, people come with varying degrees of understanding and experience and knowledge. So it's a case of just being able to get what serves us. And my real objective here, as I've stated and I'm restating, is just to give a familiarity with different processes so that you can pick one or two that you like. And the other is to give you the experience of doing it on a regular basis so that you're inspired and enthusiastic about doing it yourself. Um, when it comes to creating a routine, the science behind it says that it's easier to get in the habit of something when you can kind of associate it with another activity. So, for example, for me, after I finish my breakfast, I usually brush my teeth directly afterwards. Or in the evening before going to bed, I like to meditate before I go to bed. And so it's part of a type of ritual or a practiced routine. So by linking the practice of meditation to something else you do in your day, maybe as soon as you get home from work and you turn off your computer and you finish working, that in that moment you say, okay, what do I do? What do I usually do after I finish working? I usually meditate. Or what do I usually do just before I go to bed? I usually meditate. So if you can kind of have a connection between where meditation falls in terms of everything else you do in the day, then you can use that as a trigger to help you to do it. And then in terms of starting out, I'm doing here, a guided sessions could be 20 minutes. I think yesterday's might have gone over 20 minutes. But when you're starting out, 10 or 15 minutes is 10 minutes is fine. When you're starting out, really, it's not so much about being able to meditate for a long period of time. It's just about actually doing the practice with regularity. And then as you become more established in your own practice, you can build on the 10 minutes to 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And listening to a meditation practice as I'm delivering it to you now, or if you come across it on YouTube, wherever it might be, this is helpful to get the process. But ideally, we want to be able to meditate without having to rely on somebody's voice, or we want to be able to be so familiar with the process that we're able to internalize our attention and just guide ourselves through the process because of that familiarity and just knowing how to do it. So with that said, then we can begin today's practice. So just ensure you're sitting somewhere where you're comfortable, where you won't be distracted. And we want to be free from distraction, just because the whole objective of meditation is to arrive in a space where we're able to just be and we're able to just exist without needing any external object or thing or movement to help us to have a sense of being. Okay, so we often define ourselves in terms of the things we do and in terms of the things we think and the things we say, and this is what we use to define our existence. But we want to just experience existence without conditioning it in this way, without identifying with anything. So we just want to be. So by sitting in a space where there's very little distraction, there's less likelihood for our thoughts to identify with anything, and so we're able to just keep our awareness clarified. It's able to stay just pure. It's not being interrupted by anything that's going on. Okay, so we're sitting in a quiet space. And I'll just ask you to turn off your microphone, just in case your microphone's on, just to turn it off in case any sound might distract other people. So sitting in a quiet space, sitting upright, erect, so you can allow for the electrical currents to move through your nervous system unrestricted. And as you're sitting and you're becoming more settled into your posture, you can just remember the nature of your physical body. Now, the nature of your physical body is one which is prone to movement and has evolved to be able to move in specific ways. So although right now in this very minute you're choosing to just sit down and you're choosing to be still, your body has the full capacity and the full potential to move. You have the potential to move your torso. You have the potential to move your head on your neck, and you have the potential to move your arms and your hands and your fingers, the potential to move your legs and your feet and your toes. So we can acknowledge this potential. We can acknowledge the capacity of the body to move. But we can also acknowledge our own intention for this period of 20 minutes or so to remain still. Although we acknowledge the potential of the body to move, we have decided to stay still without movement. We can also acknowledge our own capacity to hold on to things. We have the capacity to grasp within our hands objects and bring them close to us. But now you've allowed your hands to rest on your legs comfortably. You can acknowledge your own deciding not to grasp, not to hold. And we can also acknowledge our capacity to form words and to speak and communicate. But again, for this period of 20 minutes, we've decided to remain silent, to quieten our words, to refrain from speaking. And these are the decisions we've made. We're choosing this for the next 20 minutes to remain motionless, to be free from holding and grasping, and to avoid speaking. And as you sit there, you may have your eyes open. And we can also acknowledge the body's capacity to receive information through the faculty of seeing. We can see. And even with the eyes open, we can decide not to focus on anything, to not give priority to any one thing. But to help us to do this, we can close our eyes. So when you're ready, just allow your eyelids to fall and close your eyes. And so we're choosing not to see. And we can acknowledge the body's capacity to hear through the faculty of hearing. We're able to listen to the world around us. But we can decide right now that the only thing that we're going to listen to is my voice for the sake of this meditation practice. But otherwise, to disconnect with any other sounds which are occurring. And we can acknowledge the body's capacity to feel, to touch, to sense. And right now, our sensations may be of where our body meets the chair. But we can use this capacity to feel as a means to bring our attention inward. So in a moment, I'd like you to direct your attention to the parts of the body as I name them. Simply allow your inner focus to move to each body part as I call it out. So you can begin by bringing your attention to the toes in your right foot. There's no need to move your toes. You're simply directing your attention there and becoming aware of the sensation. And that's it. You're not trying to change the sensation, alter it. You're not criticizing it or judging it. We're just using the faculty of sense as a means to become more aware of our body and move our attention inward. So moving from the toes in your right foot, allow your attention to move to the heel of your right foot, the sole of your right foot. And then to your upper foot, and to your ankle on your right leg. Moving upwards through the lower leg, the shin and the calf. Allowing your attention to pass through the knee to the upper leg, the thigh muscle. And allowing your attention to move past the hip to the back side of your right leg. And now allow your attention to move to the toes in your left foot. And the heel and sole of your left foot. And the top of your foot. Passing through the ankles to the lower leg, the shin and the calf. Moving up through the knee to the upper leg, your thigh. Passing through the hip to the back side of your left leg. Now allow your attention to be directed to the fingers of your right hand. And to the back of your right hand, the palm of your right hand. Moving through the wrist to the lower arm. Simply observing the sensations. Through the elbow to the upper arm, including the bicep and the tricep of the upper arm. The shoulder and the top of the shoulder. And then move your attention to the fingers on your left hand. The palm of your left hand and the back of your left hand. Passing through the wrist to the lower arm. Simply observing the sensations as they occur. Moving through the elbow to the upper arm, the bicep and the tricep, the shoulder and the top of the shoulder. And now we can direct our attention to the torso. We can go to the area in the front of the torso, around the waist, just below the navel. And allow your attention to move upwards gradually, past the navel, around the belly, just below the rib cage, continuously moving upwards. Your entire chest, your collarbone, to the top of the left and the right shoulder. Simply observing the sensations. Now direct your attention to the back of the torso at the base of the spine. allowing your attention to slowly move upwards around the waist area to the small of your back, continuing upwards, your mid-back, your upper back, including the left and right shoulder blade, the tops of your shoulders, and the back of your neck, the left side of your neck, and the right side of your neck, and the front of your neck, and your jawline, your chin, your lower lip and your upper lip, your nose, and your left eye, your left cheek, your left ear, and the left side of your head, just observing the sensations. To your right eye, your right cheek, your right ear, and the right side of your head, observing the sensations. And direct your attention to the part on the neck which meets the base of your skull. And from this point, allow your attention to move upwards, following the curve of the skull, upwards, over the crown of the head, continuing forward, forward, until you arrive at the forehead. And allow your attention to become settled, anchoring at this space in the forehead, the space in the center of your forehead. Simply feel yourself to be at this point, directing all your attention to it. And we can acknowledge our commitment to remain still, choosing not to move. Acknowledge our commitment to stop holding on, deciding to just let go. And we can acknowledge our commitment to stop forming words, just being quiet. Still, unmoving. And in this space of stillness, we can use our intention to simply fulfill our goal, which is to remain motionless, still, quiet. and resting in the silence. Allow yourself to just be. Now allow your attention to move to your heart center, located in the center of your chest. And over the following several exhalations, allow your attention to become more focused, more centralized at this one point. Your heart center. And resting in this silence, in this stillness, in this peace, we can set the intention for the day that we, to the best of our ability, will remain mindful of this inner state of peace and calm, of contentment and serenity. And we can acknowledge the capacity of the body to move, to hold, to speak, to see, to hear, to think. So we set the intention that while all these functions are taking place, we will endeavor to remain aware of this state of contentment which exists continuously. And so now, as we prepare to conclude our practice session, you can just become familiar with your body again, feeling where your feet meet the floor, hearing the sounds that may be occurring around you. And then when you're ready, you can just open your eyes and see. Okay, so that was our third technique. As I mentioned, these techniques, you may be familiar with them from taking part in retreats or listening to different videos or whatever it might be. But in the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, so sage Patanjali, who wrote the book, the Yoga Sutras, which are considered to be a manual for any sincere yoga practitioner, he outlines 5 specific techniques to help develop a state of concentrated awareness. So we've practiced 3 techniques now, and it would be amazing and very beneficial for you to be able to apply them yourself. So if you take the technique that we just did and you want later on this evening or later on in your day just to take 10 or 15 minutes and sit down, you don't necessarily need to do it exactly the way I did it, but the essence of the process is to just move your attention from toe to head, and whatever way you do it, just stay with the same way. So you do it the same way each time you do it. So you may find that you move your attention from your toe up through your legs, your torso, through your hands, and through your head in whatever style you do it. And then when you're remaining still and endeavoring to just be peaceful, you might find that because you're not being guided, that there's a lot more distraction. So you can just maybe do the process again, move your attention from the toes up through the legs and up through the body and back up to your forehead. And you can do this once again, and then try to sit in stillness. And you may have better luck this time. You may be able to sit in stillness for longer, but if not, just keep on doing the technique over and over until such point that you feel that you're grounded, you're rested, and that your mind is somewhat peaceful, so that you're able to just experience that state of being without interruption. Have a good day. Take
Thank
care,
you.
guys.
Have a nice
Bye-bye.
day. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.